How are you? Good to see you all. Appreciate your turning out for breakfast at 8. I'm really excited about our presentation today for you. Going to be reviewing 10 goals you can actually achieve with a restaurant app. A little bit about the authority from which we speak. The insights that I'm going to be presenting today are really based on our experience. My firm, LoyaltyPlant, has been single-focused on restaurant apps and their development and deployment for 5 years. We've done 400 restaurant apps in 8 countries. We've worked with the big brands, Burger King, Pizza Hut, KFC, Hooters are representative of that. But we've also worked with many, many smaller chains. And the great thing about mobile and the web is that the tools that we can apply to the larger clients are very much accessible to medium and small chains as well. Overall, we support 8 million app users, which gives us a really great database to work from. So as we present, I will be talking about some specific examples, but the benchmarks that we present against the 10 goals are very much, can be generalized. So what's the most challenging task for restaurants today? Well, clearly, you're dealing with the opportunities of location, food, operations, and service. But we really think at the very top of the pyramid, it's all about customer relationships. And we're in the business of building customer relationships that are truly rewarding for both the brand and the customer. This is one of those great situations where it truly is a win-win situation. When the customer is delighted with the experience they're having, and the mobile experience is an extension of the brand experience, then the restaurant marketer is going to be benefiting from all the great behavior that that customer will be presenting. So I'd like to just step back a second and use a metaphor. You know, if you're a farmer, you've got a field to till. And we really view customer relationships as being a field of customer relationships. And within the CRM world and the mobile world, there are a number of tools in our toolbox. So an app tool can actually provide actionable insights and analyze behavior. It can take that behavior and turn it into customer segments that can be very easily and clearly targeted. And once you have that targeting in place, it's all about communicating at the right place and the right time and delivering what we've all come to expect today, which is personalized offers and a really great emotional experience. I mean, we work in food. There's nothing which is as stimulating as food when it's really well presented within an app. The mobile environment offers another benefit, and that's gamification. Over 50% of mobile apps succeed in the gaming sector. I don't know if you're familiar, but you probably, if you watched the Super Bowl last year, you saw 3 mobile gaming apps advertising. And I think we've all seen Arnold Schwarzenegger blowing up the world for his mobile game. So truly rewarding customer relationships are going to generate lots of dollars. And this is how we define a mobile app that works. And this is how we define true restaurant success. So how do we build truly rewarding customer relationships? Well, for farming, we had the old tools. We had shovels, we had mass media, we had TV, we had couponing and consumer promotion. But clearly, in the new mobile environment, and mobile is so dominant, I'm just looking out to see how many people are on their phones right now. But on average, an American spends 3 hours a day on his mobile device, his smartphone. And 90% of time spent on a smartphone is spent within an app. Also, 90% of smartphone owners use their device for shopping. And 70% of smartphone users actually want loyalty cards on their devices. So you're playing to an audience that is extremely predisposed toward a great experience with your restaurant app. That's why we provide mobile apps. Now, 90% of restaurant apps are actually not very state-of-the-art tools. And what we find, it's actually very self-evident. If you go into the app stores and you start looking at how consumers rate restaurant apps, you'll clearly see that they're very low rated. And this is typical of a major chain that had very few downloads of its app. And the comment is, it's nothing but menu and locations. I can see those when I get there. How do you get to the review so I can rate the places that I eat at? So a number of 1 out of 5 star ratings, not much functionality there to draw people in, to engage them in a very emotional way, and it doesn't bring any value for your business. So simply saying that you have an app is definitely not enough. What we're seeing is more and more apps that look like this state-of-the-art John Deere tractor as it tills its field. The one that we all sort of point to as being a great success because of the volume it does and the great experience is Starbucks. It's actually used by customers. The Starbucks app is responsible for 21% of their overall sales. They're a $19 billion company, so you're talking about almost $4 billion being transacted through the mobile app. And it leverages personalized emotional communication, and it achieves the 10 business goal benchmarks that I'm going to be presenting to you right now. So we differentiate the Starbucks app and the John Deere state-of-the-art tractor as mobile apps and equipment that actually work. So let me take you through a little bit of the benchmark conditions before I start laying out the goals and talking about the benchmarks against those goals. We used one location as our benchmark, and generally we view our success for benchmarking purposes after 3 months. You're going to see a build of traffic in month 1 and 2, but essentially at the end of 3 months you get a very, very clear read of what you can expect for the future, and we say that based on our total portfolio of experience. So we talk about goal 1, building customer data and analyzing customer behavior. One of the comments that I heard from someone who has an app is, well, we've had thousands of downloads, so we think it's a success. The reality is when you begin to look across app installations, there are a lot of folks who will download your app, but the sequential steps needed to become a real user of the app are often not followed through on. So some just don't use the app or have deleted it. Some open the app sometimes, but they haven't used the mobile loyalty card yet. And then you've got the groups that we're most interested in, those who use the mobile loyalty card 1 or 2 times, and those who use the card regularly. So in order to become a validated user of an app, you've got to download it, you've got to open it, and you've got to make a purchase using it. So let's take a look at, this is an example from Hooters in Europe. We had monthly growth of new users who transact. We launched in mid-December 2014 and got 230 new users who transacted. And then in the following months, we got 560, 520, 460. So overall, this benchmark is greater than 1,500 real customers using the app for one location after 3 months. Obviously, there's some caveats around that absolute number. With QSR, we find that generally the number is about double that as a benchmark. And what we find is from downloads, in this particular case, restaurant signage was 81% of the download origination volume, and referrals were 19%. Referrals are a very important part of the overall business of building your user base, and I'll get to a benchmark against referrals in just a couple minutes. The reason it's so important is that you're talking about new users when you talk about referrals. The second goal is engaging customers in the digital channel. So here we talk about participation rate in the loyalty program from one restaurant. Generally, as a benchmark, we look at 30% loyalty program app penetration. And by penetration, we mean the number of checks using the mobile loyalty card divided by the overall number of checks. So 30 out of every 100. What we saw with the launch of our Pizza Hut app in a specific door was 20% usage during the first week and 33% after 2 months. Obviously, there's a lot you can do in terms of stimulating that usage, and that's what I'm going to talk about in some of the other goals. Goal number 3 is increasing average check size. And these are kind of illustrative screens from what we consider an app that really works. Again, highly motivating visuals of mouth-watering food that has me looking forward to lunch already. In this particular case, we're talking about 30% of users having higher checks. The reason here is that someone who is a loyal user is generally a higher spender. So not only are you leveraging the frequency, getting more of those loyal users to come more often, but in both examples of 2 different classes of restaurants, you've got a 30% higher check. So a major advantage in terms of the efficacy of the app, and clearly a quantifiable goal that you can attain. And that's really how we view apps, as being able to generate quantifiable goals that can build your business. Goal 4, win back lost customers. So here's a little bit of a build of a customer base that we looked at. In May, you can see of that blue bar, you had a number of customers who just didn't come back in June. They were given a push notification and an offer to come back to, this was a KFC. And what we found was that they returned. If you think about the average habit of your app user, much like your most of your walk-in customers, they come in once and they don't really remember you. So the purpose of the app is really to build that loyalty over time and get them to come back. If they don't come back on their own, give them an offer like the one we have here. This was done in a KFC offering a free Sanders sandwich. It had a 34% open rate and a 14% win-back campaign conversion for lost customers. So a great example of how a really appetizing visual combined with a very targeted offer was able to bring back those lost customers and build the overall customer base. So goal 5 is all about encouraging impulse visits with location-based marketing. The technology in location-based marketing has become much better over just over the last year. So the ability for a restaurant like the example I'm going to give of a KFC on the 3rd floor of a mall, not getting much in the way of traffic over a holiday as they expected, can be very easily remedied. This was a location-based campaign within a perimeter around the mall, and essentially they said, we're up on the 4th floor of the mall, come and receive your free gift. 22% of the folks who received the push notification actually converted, and that led to 35% additional sales. So these are tools which are available to you at minimal cost, which clearly give you real-time control over your business. If you think about slow time during the restaurant, and we heard this on the keynote panel yesterday from the CIO teams, they were talking about increasingly getting real-time control over their business through promotion. So our benchmark here is 22% for proximity marketing conversion. Goal number 6 extends the ability to promote to consumers with just an automated campaign. This is almost a no-brainer because you're getting registration data for an app user when they sign up. You'll get it out of their Facebook account. So you know that a customer who's celebrating their birthday is likely to want to have a party and start planning an event. So as they go through that consideration process, you can send them a push notification that's really attractive and festive and personal, saying, you know, happy birthday, making it very simple for them to book a table at your restaurant in the app, and at the same time offering them a real incentive to come in and take advantage of the occasion. So in this case, we had conversion 24% on birthday greetings, and we found that the average check was 2 times higher as a result of the promotion. Goal number 7 is getting new guests by referral recommendation. And this is almost the stealthiest. This is one that a number of app users who talk about apps that work often just talk about the loyal segments and being able to stimulate additional frequency and higher checks against loyal customers. In this case, what you're getting is new users. And we found with Burger King that 14% of all guests recommended the app to their friends. And as a result of that recommendation, for every recommendation that a guest made to their friends, you were getting 3 new app installs. So that's the equivalent of getting, for this particular location, 900 new app installs from recommendations for just the one location over 3 months. So it's a great way to take advantage of what we all know in the offline world to be one of the most effective marketing tactics, which is word of mouth. In this particular case, you have a tool which you don't necessarily have as easy leverage with in your mobile, in the offline world, and that's a loyalty incentive. So if you tell someone that if they recommend to friends, they get more points and mouth-watering rewards, you're going to leverage their recommendation and end up with a much larger customer base. So goal number 8 is getting additional revenue from digital ordering. And certainly nobody sets the standard for digital ordering better than Domino's. And they do just a great job of being able to both build and customize your own pizza, remembering your past orders, and making it just incredibly convenient to transact. In this particular case, we really do see 60% of digital orders should come from your own app. Now, this is going to vary a little bit by class of trade and depending on the scope of your business. But just yesterday, we heard the president of TGI Fridays talk about how they just launched a new experience, which is essentially everything but the booth. So your ability to get takeout business, your ability to do delivery business, as McDonald's is now doing about $1 billion, Frank Liccardi said yesterday, in 23 countries of delivery. And also, very importantly, for those of you who have reservations, there's no reason why you should be giving third-party fees out to folks like OpenTable when you could be getting those reservations directly in-app from a loyal customer base. So we definitely see this as a huge opportunity for most of our customers, and a 60% digital orders coming from your own app as being achievable. Goal number 9 is providing your guests with a feedback channel that actually works. So in this case, often people don't think about this example. If you're a dissatisfied customer, the chances are that your remedies are going to be telling friends about complaints, negative reviews on Yelp, going to your website, complaining in social media. And the reality is that an app, which is a two-way communication tool that is private between your customer and your restaurant, is just a great way of getting these comments before they go public. and before they have a really bad effect on your business. And actually, in our experience, we find that a guest who has a complaint that has been addressed effectively is more likely to become a consumer advocate for your restaurant than probably anybody else out there, because they've encountered your ability to recover from what happens to all service providers at some point, some dissatisfaction with the service, and you've shown them a personal like. So what we've done in our mobile apps is build in a way of getting a very, very quick feedback, asking for ratings, and being able to give a text box for very, very concise comments, which can then be addressed by management. We generally find that getting greater than 10 feedback reviews per day is really a great thermometer for your business. If you're getting 10 feedback reviews, they're positive, you're in great shape. If there are some negatives that you can turn around, all the better. Goal 10 is the ultimate goal of all of us, which is growing sales and profits. So if you take a look at a KFC that launched a LoyaltyPlant app in October of 2015, these folks did what a number of our customers do, which is essentially to take two comparable stores with similar locations, mall locations, say, similar seasonality patterns, sales patterns, and put our app that works into one location and use the second location as a control. So what we find over time is very, very consistent 6 to 20% same-store sales growth. That is a very hard metric, which we know is very achievable based on being able to take the previous 9 and many more. I cut it off at 10 because it's just a good number for a listicle, but I could keep going. But that's really what it's all about, growing sales and profits through great customer relationships. So just briefly, why isn't everyone achieving these terrific results that I'm talking about as a result of the app? Well, I'll throw out 5 key reasons, and this is really another presentation. I want to leave some time for questions, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But I'd be glad to discuss any of these or any other concerns you might have, either in question or afterwards. So why isn't everyone achieving these results? Well, the first is not having your own branded app. A lot of folks have decided that it's too expensive, we don't really understand it, we're not getting traffic, we don't have downloads, we tried it, it didn't work. We went in with some other restaurants, we're perfectly happy just using OpenTable, and we don't know what the alternatives are. So having your own branded app is really table stakes, and it's a very cheap alternative to do well with a firm like ours or others, highly cost efficient, with 0 payback time. You'll see payback in the first month. A second reason for not achieving results is a static, non-personalized interface. Think about those comments of the review that I put up before. Hey, I can get a menu anywhere. I don't really need your app to do that. Consumers are expecting a personalized experience. So unless you're giving them that, you're really not going to get the kind of goal attainment that's optimal. The third is an ineffective app communication strategy. Actually, in the wider world of apps, there's talk about an engagement crisis right now, because the reality is that people aren't using in-app notifications or push notifications in a very efficacious, pleasing manner to consumers. And I'm sure you all get messages all the time, and you go, hey, why are they sending that to me? So the couple of examples that I showed you of a really gorgeous, Colonel Sanders sandwich from KFC, or the kind of personalized ice cream, or the birthday message, are effective app communication tactics. You need a strategy against that. And the app analytics that we provide, which is very simple in terms of its segmentation, it can be set up quite quickly working with our customer folks who are trained in this. But identifying kids with families, for instance, and doing specific promotions against them, and doing win-back promotions are examples of effective app communication strategy. The fourth is bad loyalty mechanics, and I know we've all been there. We were all just talking about loyalty mechanics before, and one of the loyalty companies that's here, we don't use their program because it just requires you to type in codes all the time. It requires you to do all sorts of things which are not natural. And not only that, it doesn't show you the actual reward of what you're getting. Starbucks, I think about 6 months ago, made a shift in their loyalty strategy to what we're recommending. And I'll take full credit for that, by the way. But essentially, they moved from a reward system where if you go 9 times, you get the 10th cup free, to something much more stimulating, which is take a look at what you can get for the rewards. It gamifies the experience so that you're building points, so that you're building towards specific rewards that you want. The last one is developing your software in-house. We typically are set up to deal with all the unique complexities that a lot of IT managers never encounter. The ability to deal with Android and iOS and the many changes that are made to those operating systems. The ability to quite quickly deal with different device types, and a real integrated understanding of how to bring together a great loyalty program, a great user experience, and all of the elements that go into building what we call an app that works are really not core competencies of most restaurant IT groups that I've encountered. So those are 5 quick reasons why everyone isn't achieving those results. And I really wanted to end with this slide and leave a couple of minutes for questions. You can see as you look over here that where we're focused is on quantified results for our customers as a result of deploying an app in a very short time. And in fact, we've got another 7 benchmarks that we've established, which we could also share with you in an extended presentation. But I just want to make the point that our mission overall is really not a quantification. It's really, again, that mission that every restaurant brand deserves an app that delivers great key performance indicators. And really what that comes from is making guests happy and engaged. So it's great to talk about all these numbers and be able to quantify the result of what we do, and we don't really see enough of that within the world that we operate in. Clearly, if you're going in and making the business case for an app that works, you need to demonstrate that ROI, and we've got those numbers fully fleshed out. But it's very important to balance that with an overall approach of just an outstanding user experience that you would want to use. So that's a little bit of an overview. I've given you 10 goals in about 30 minutes, and we wanted to leave a few minutes for questions.